Spring 2011. A quiet field outside Prague, Czech Republic. Archaeologists were digging through corded ware graves. These burials were nearly 5,000 years old. The team wasn't hunting for controversy. They just wanted pottery, tools, ordinary grave goods. Then a brush uncovered something strange. A man's skeleton, curled on his left side, facing east, surrounded by household jars. That was the female position, every single time, for centuries. Within days, headlines exploded worldwide. Reporters called him the gay caveman. Archaeologists cringed at the label. The bones couldn't say who he loved, but they proved something else entirely. Long before the word gay existed, people were already breaking rules we assume were fixed. That single grave became a flashpoint in a much bigger question. This question would eventually shape modern law, medicine, and identity itself. So how did we get from silent bones to a modern...
An acronym like LGBTQ? Let's trace that journey, era by era. Start with the obvious problem. Bones don't have orientations. Skeletons show sex, roughly. They never show desire. So archaeologists lean on something else instead. They study symbols, art, and written words. That evidence stretches back much further than Prague. Consider the cave of the Trois Frères in France. It holds paintings roughly 15,000 years old. Some figures blend human and animal traits. Some scholars read gender ambiguity into those forms. Others strongly disagree. The debate itself proves something important. Ancient people already played with identity and form. The next real breakthrough came with actual writing. Around 2400 BCE, Egypt gives us Khnumhotep and Niankhkhnum, two royal manicurists buried together in one tomb. Their poses mirror married heterosexual couples exactly. Nose to nose, arms embracing, painted side by side. Egyptologists still argue over their exact relationship, but the tomb itself was a deliberate, expensive statement. That fix, finally having texts, created a new problem. Text also means law, and law means punishment. Ancient Mesopotamia offers the first written record split. Some Sumerian and Akkadian texts describe same-sex acts neutrally, even ritually. Priestesses of Inanna reportedly transformed gender roles during worship, yet other legal codes stayed silent or hostile. Then comes the fork in the road. Classical Greece, roughly 500 BCE onward.
Athens tolerated relationships between men under strict social rules. Age, status, and public role all mattered enormously. Meanwhile, Sparta wove male bonding directly into military training. Two neighboring cultures, wildly different rules. Same broader Greek world. Here's the quiet callback to Prague. Even in Greece, gender expression wasn't binary or fixed. Some Greek vase paintings show ambiguous, fluid presentations, defying easy categories. That curled skeleton in Bohemia wasn't an isolated anomaly. It echoed a pattern seen across the ancient world. Rome complicated things further. Emperor Hadrian publicly mourned his companion Antinous. Statues of Antinous appeared across the empire afterward. Yet Roman law still punished certain acts between citizens harshly. Status determined nearly everything, more than gender did. By late antiquity, a new force reshaped the entire landscape. Organized religion began writing sweeping, unified moral codes.
That fix created a much larger problem. Unified religious law meant unified religious punishment. Early Christian authorities condemned same-sex acts explicitly, citing scripture. By 342 CE, Roman emperors passed harsh new penalties. Centuries later, medieval Europe treated these acts as capital crimes. Islamic legal traditions developed their own separate, complex frameworks. Meanwhile, other regions moved in completely different directions. Pre-colonial India offers a striking contrast here. Hindu texts describe a third gender called Hijra. Ancient temple carvings, like Khajuraho, show same-sex intimacy openly. These weren't fringe images, hidden or shameful. They sat directly on public, sacred religious architecture. The Americas tell yet another story entirely. Many indigenous nations recognized multiple gender roles. Modern scholars later coined the term two-spirit collectively. Individual nations had their own specific names and roles. These people often held respected spiritual or social positions. So while Europe criminalized, other continents institutionalized. That's the real fork in the road. Not just tolerance versus punishment, but wildly different social systems entirely. European colonialism then exported its legal codes worldwide, starting in the 1500s and accelerating through the 1800s. Colonizers imposed sodomy laws across Africa, Asia, and the Americas. Many of these colonial-era laws still exist today. India didn't strike down its version until 2018. Back in Europe, though, something else was brewing. The word homosexual itself only appeared in 1869. Hungarian writer Karl Maria Kertbeny coined it in a pamphlet. He was arguing against Prussian anti-sodomy laws directly. Naming the identity became a form of resistance. That naming created an entirely new problem. Once something has a name, it can be studied, medicalized, or attacked. By the early 1900s, doctors began classifying sexuality clinically. Some, like Magnus Hirschfeld in Berlin, argued for acceptance. His Institute for Sexual Science opened in 1919.
It was raided and burned by Nazis in 1933. Thousands of case files were destroyed in one afternoon. That destruction nearly erased decades of hard-won research, but it didn't erase the people or the pattern. The mid-1900s brought organizing, not just survival. In 1950, the Mattachine Society formed in Los Angeles. Small, secretive, deliberately cautious at first. Then came a breaking point. June 1969, the Stonewall Inn, New York City. Police raided the bar, as they'd done before. This time, patrons fought back for days. That single uprising sparked a global movement almost overnight. Through the 1970s and 80s, language kept expanding fast. Activists added letters, one identity at a time. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender voices demanded separate recognition. Each addition reflected a real, distinct lived experience. The AIDS crisis, starting around 1981, forced painful new visibility. Communities organized care where governments refused to help. Grief became political action, almost by necessity. By the 2000s and 2010s, the acronym grew further still. Queer, intersex, asexual, and other identities joined formally. Legal recognition slowly followed cultural visibility, country by country. Same-sex marriage became law in the Netherlands first in 2001. So what kind of story is this, really? Not an invention, not a modern trend. It's a story of constant rediscovery. Every generation reaches for the same truth. Human identity has always resisted simple categories. Think back to that curled skeleton outside Prague. He wasn't ahead of his time. He was proof there was never just one timeline. The letters changed. The laws changed, again and again. The people never needed permission to exist. They were always already there.